Oh, hello. Welcome to the inside of the boat. Um, it's pretty Spartan in here. I've been cleaning up. I had a few projects going on, so I had tools everywhere, and it's not very organized. I'm starting to get there, slowly but surely. Previous owner had this set up for him and his girlfriend for pretty long trips, I guess, was their plans, and it didn't work out. Um, so I decided I was going to live with his setup for a while before I started ripping things out, kind of live with it and see what I thought. And I took it out for a camping trip. Realized there was a lot of stuff here that wasn't what I needed. For instance, he had a big cabinet kind of built in over here, across from the sink, and it had inside it had a 2-burner propane stove on gimbals and stuff, and I do a lot of backpacking, and I barely need more than a jet boil. Will get me through 99% of what I need to do. I think I'm just going to get a single burner propane portable thing that can just set up here or something like that when I need it, if I want to actually cook. Like something more than you can do in a jet boil. But other than that, so I took all that space. I wanted all that space back. And he had, these stairs were they had backing to each step, so you had no access to the back other than, taking this top lid off, and there's a porta potty under there, which I'm gonna leave the porta potty. I don't intend to ever use it, hopefully, fingers crossed, but it's a good emergency thing to have, I guess. But I wanted access. I've already got, like my oars for my digging under there, and just some more long things that can go all the way back. And I'm probably going to build a little cubby above this step and underneath the cockpit step for binoculars and stuff that you need to get to. I'd like to come up with some sort of a seat here so I can stand on the bottom step and sit here more comfortably and with my head out, and so I can with a remote control on a tiller pilot, kind of, I'd like to build some sort of a hard Dodger at some point up in the Pacific Northwest. It's pretty rainy a lot of times, and I plan to be kind of if not a year-round sailor, 9-10 months out of the year, probably. Probably not the coldest 2 months of the year, January and February, but rain. I don't know. I tend to get out, so I'd like to at least be able to not be sitting out in the wet while we're just cruising for 2 hours in a row. So sitting sheltered would be nice. Other than that, it's pretty good. It's pretty much ready to go. I mean, I think I need to redo. The cushions are pretty new. They don't smell or anything. But this one, especially now that that cabinet's gone, is a little shorter than what I need. I think for the V-berth, I'm going to get rid of all the V cushions. And at 6'2", I fit in kind of sideways. It's like an 8-foot beam. But I think I'm going to get rid of all the V cushions and put like a trucker's mattress back there. And then leave the whole back bare, so I can, come up with netting or something like that for a little extra storage. It's only ever really, I expect one person, there's a second person, I'll put him here, I guess. And the odd chance, I don't have any plans, but if I ever have to sleep while underway or something like that, and want to sleep in a V-berth because we're keeled over, maybe double up the cushions or something like that. I don't know. I don't really foresee that ever happening. I guess you never know. That's about it. Just small projects. The wiring was, it's pretty basic. We made a couple shortcuts that no big deal, but I disagree with. This light is just wired in to the in from the solar panel that's up. You know, so it all goes to this charge controller, and it's upstream of the solar of the charge controller. So it works now because it's daylight, but as soon as the sun goes down, that light quits working. So I'm gonna put that into the battery circuit so it's usable 24 hours a day. He had a propane tank hanging off the back and ran propane to this stove. And I've taken the tank off because I don't really have a use for it, but I don't really want to rip it all out yet. I think I'm going to get that portable stove. And I'm looking into heating options for the colder months. I don't permanently want to wire in a diesel heater with a permanent exhaust. I don't really want to carry a second fuel type around like that I have to deal with. I don't know that I have. I've got backpacking gear that's good down to like minus 20 degrees. And I tested it out, and it's good. So I can bring that. But I don't know how well it will do in a damp environment. Usually, it's pretty dry when you're out in that kind of environment. But for down in the water, I'll never really be out when it's much less than 40. Mid 30s. My gear should be plenty for that. But it'd be nice to take the bite off. I'm thinking probably first I'm just going to boil water and keep it in a thermos and have like one of those hot water bottles that women use for sort of core body heat. Be like my first line of defense, and then I'll have maybe this thing, the little propane thing for boiling more water for that, for as far as like emergency heat and comfort. I looked into those little buddy heaters. I read a bunch about how safe they may or may not be for indoor use. I'm not really convinced. I did find a DIY idea where you use a propane stove and you put like a pot over it as the heat sink to absorb all the heat, but then you run a tube out the side of it and out, and then that exhausts the moisture and the carbon monoxide. Probably try that. I don't know if I'm going to put a whole lot of money on it working long term, but I'm probably not going to run it overnight. The trucker's mattress, they do make a DC heat map that goes under the mattress and heats the mattress from below, and then you keep all the heat in, under your blanket. So that, like, take the chill off in the morning, might be a good way to go. Not sure what the amp draw is. I've got a 100 amp AGM battery, which, so I don't know what, 50 amps to get you through the night, till the solar comes back on, starts charging it back up again. But that could be a good solution. And then in the high moisture area, I think you do want something, even, with the windows cracked and you're not really worried about carbon monoxide tripping about. But, you do every now and then want to, like, heat up the inside of these things to really get the moisture, evaporated and everything dried out. So that might be a way to go. Maybe when the sun's out, I can just get in a little electric heater and crank, just close everything off and let it go. And maybe I'll have enough battery power for that. I do have a little Jackery lithium-ion battery pack, with an inverter that I usually bring along. Probably won't bring along in the summer, but it might become part of my solution in the colder months. So I can run a heater off that and then charge it. We'll see. We shall see. But yeah, it's coming along. I'm pretty happy. I've just taken measurement. I just cut all these stairs down to the final size I wanted. It changed around you can't see it probably, but he had the bracing that's underneath this step was taking up all the space, so you couldn't put anything under there, and it had a cover in front of it. So I got rid of all that, and now you can at least, I think you put something up to like 6 feet long under there. before it hits the back of the keel, and it doesn't. There's nothing really back there to hit, so I make a little. There's a sling back there that could catch the back end. I might hang some canvas or something to so it doesn't tip out. But I don't know. Figure out little ways to use this space a little more efficiently. I'm still trying to figure out this stuff. I think I'm going to get rid of this little cubby. I don't know. Feels like I can use this space more efficiently. You can't see it now, but I've got this whole wall. I can come up with, you know, a bookshelf or something to hang stuff on. I don't know. I'll fiddle with it as time goes on. But I've got. I just ordered a tiller pilot online, but there are a little bit of back order. Hopefully, it doesn't take too long to get here. Ordered a new head sail. That's one of my. Everything works, but it's kind of a Frankenstein's collection right now. You got a new mast, which changed all the geometry, and he chopped the mast down a little bit. So, and it's got for the head sail, it's got one of those plastic tracks with the cable in it. And I guess racers like that system, but it's as a single person, it's a pain because it doesn't feed in very well. You kind of need a second person to help feed to get, and then once it's up, I guess you get more performance out of the sail theoretically, but it's a lot of extra work for just one person. So I want to just go to Hank's, and so I've ordered a new head sail. I did a lot of measuring and figuring out like exactly what size, and I found a ready-made sail that looks like it's going to fit pretty well, and it'll end up being like a 138, 140% Genoa. Puget Sound with the light winds, that's probably a good place to start. I've got the original Halman jib, which on this new rig will probably end up being like a 90%. And then, because we mostly have light air in Puget Sound, usually, under 10 knots. Sometimes, a lot of times under 5 knots. It's you're not reefing too much, but in the off season you will. I may end up getting a storm jib, and the mainsail is still the original Halman sail, so it's like 2.5 foot short of the top of the mast. It still fits the boom well, so I gotta figure that out, space that out. Anyway, I bought a new head sail. I've got to take off that, whatever that tape system is. It looks like it's just three screws, and the whole thing should just slide off the turnbuckle, and then put on the Hanks when they get here, and then I don't know, another month or so, put in get a new mainsail. This boat's never really, as far as I can tell, it's a trailer boat. It's trailerable. I got a trailer with it, but it's been a trailer boat its whole life, and so it's never really sat in the water. And it was down in Oregon, which I think it was in freshwater a lot, and so it has no zinc system for no anodes underneath. So that's been working. I've got 3 through hulls that are brass that that I've grounded, and run all the wires. And this thing's going in for bottom paint at the end of next month, and I'm talking to the shop and I'm going to have them put in one of those Diver Dream anodes on the outside wired into the system. There's just one way in the back. There's the bottom hinge for the rudder is submerged, and it's stainless steel, and I want to get a grounding wire on that. And certainly with these hoses on for the cockpit drains, I can't get all the way back there, and maybe even with them out, it might be too cramped back there for somebody my size. So I'm hoping they'll have somebody smaller, and they'll probably have the gear, and so the boatyard's going to install the Diver's Dream and hopefully get a grounding wire on that. Otherwise, I'd come up with a, hanging something off the side solution until that could happen. And I'll get my bottom paint, and I get my tiller. Pilot installed, and I'll be pretty much ready to go, I think, for just about everything I want, other than start thinking about a hard dodger. I've looked at a couple designs online. There's a lot of pictures. I'm on the Facebook group for these boats, And there's one design I've seen that looks like a good place to start. So I got a bunch of cardboard behind the camera stacked up so I can start making templates. But I'm not in a hurry to do that. And then but I think that's about all I need to do in terms of, you know, making her mine. Pretty small stuff, and then I think she'll be pretty much a you know, just a she'll just be pretty much ready to go. You know, just take her out. Don't have to worry about anything. Not a project. You know, light maintenance. Hopefully light maintenance. I do have to. There was a couple blocks up on the deck that I've ordered. The ones that run the halyards back to the cockpit, the standing deck blocks on the little springs. One of them's they're Schaefer. The original ones are Schaefer, so I decided to replace them with Schaefer, so they're pretty expensive for what they are. So I've ordered them. They should be coming in, and then here's a couple more, like the side, whatever, the jib, you know, the little track sheets, jib sheets, tracks. The blocks on those are kind of undersized and a little, you know, the UV's eaten them over the years. So I've got replacements for those, but I got to take out the end block and reseal it. So I guess those are the other little projects I got to do. And then, but otherwise I think I'm done. It's, you know, pretty mild stuff. It's just a little inconvenient. Well, this is, you know, I've got a wood shop in my garage at home. So I got a certain amount of hand tools for doing this stuff, but it's usually come out here, do a bunch of measurements, grab the stuff, take it home, cut it, come back, test fit. It just takes time. This only took, you know, 1 or 2 trips back and forth to get everything it's more or less done. We'll see. I mean, it's just sitting in there. I guess in theory, you know, in rough seas, it could pop out, and maybe I want to secure it a little better. But for now it's fine. We'll see. We'll see what the future holds on that department. That's about it for the inside tour. I think hopefully I'll start having some sailing videos, some adventures coming up. I gotta work. Work is busy for the next couple months, and then yeah, I've got a trip with my daughter out of the country that's trying to work around, so I don't have a whole lot of free time for sailing for the next month or so. It'll probably just be day trips. But anyway, we'll see what happens, and I'll post those videos when they come.